This stuff from Yerushalmi Eruvin. In the article Oswald edition, we're on Mem Tesem Rav, and we're up to 2 dots, which are 3 lines down. But I'd like to go back a minute to yesterday's Gemara and tell you the Pshat Yerushalmi Kipshuto. So I'm going to start from the bottom, Mem Chesem and Beis. Actually, I've written down inside my Gemara, and I'm not sure why I didn't say it over yesterday. I don't think I wrote it fully understood. I wrote inside my Gemara. So on the issue of starting 2 lines from the bottom, Mem Chesam and Beis, which in the Vilna is on Mem Hey Amud Aleph, the second line from the bottom. Mal Erev Derech Lulim, but can you do an Erev Derech Lulim on a roof? Rav Mari said Machlokes Rav Shmuel and Machlokes Rav and Shmuel. The Tniyat Taman, we went over there. Kol Gagos Yerushus Achas. Now, this Machlokas, Rav Shmuel, I tried yesterday to say that this is one of the Machlokas over there from Kol Gagos. The way the Yerushalmi Kipshuto learns it, it's a new Machlokas. It's an issue which is specifically here. And it's about what can a lul do? And this is actually a question which is Pri Megadim brings down, which Pri Megadim asked in the Bir Allah brings down Siman Shin Ches Yud Beis. If opening a window from a house to a karpav is makivit ledira. You open a window. And the Bir Allah says, even if it works, it has to be a window which you can go through, not just one which you can look through, not just one for air or a light. No, it's got to be actually like sometimes you have in a ground bottom from a basement, an escape window which you can actually go through. So the lul would have the same status. The question is whether a lul, which goes to skylight, actually can make a roof into a mukaf ladira, not mukaf ladira. That's the question. Does the lul make a roof mukaf ladira or not? And this lul, it seems, you do go up and down from the roof. That's the purpose of the lul. This skylight, it's not just for light or air. It's also go up and down. And this is machlokas, Rav Shmuel, whether it works or doesn't work. Shomar at baseline, even if you have a lul, it doesn't make the gag into a mukaf ladira. It's only up to a base of sign. It's not moved there, and if it doesn't make the gag mukaf ladira, of course you can't make an erev. They're a chalul. Because you can't go from making it through a karpav. So this gag is a karpav, that gag is a karpav. No making erev through that lul. But Rav says no. Once a lul can, even though it's a skylight, but it doesn't matter. It can go through up and down, and therefore makes all the gagos into one rishus, which are mukaf ladira, and you get much more than a base sign. You get as much as you want, and therefore also you can make an eruv from derech lulin from one house to another house. Very simple glap shot. Okay, I'm sorry I didn't say it yesterday. Okay. Says the Gemara. Losof davar kol arba betoch asora. It's not just if you have 4 by 4 within 10. I feel mixes arba betoch asora, even if a slight amount of the 4 is within 10. Arba betoch asora. So it's as if the entire 4 by 4 is in 10 tefachim. So in other words, you don't need the entire window between the 2 houses, between the two yards, to be within 10 tefachim of the ground. Even a little bit of the 4 by 4 is within a sorah. That also is effective. Okay, so that is the idea that you have, even as we saw in the picture yesterday, even part of the windows within 10 tefachim of the ground. That it suffices. There's a Yerushalmi Kipshuto has an interesting it's partial, right? What it's saying here, but the Yerushalmi Kipshuto has a interesting interpretation. He wants to distinguish between miktsas and koshu. But all right, simple shining words. I was saying a simple statement that as long as a part of that window's in for 10 foot of the ground, you're okay. But the reason he says that is because the next Gemara, here it says miktas, the next Gemara is a place where it says koshu. So says, if it had a perimeter of 96 tfachim, even if a koshu is in 10 tfachim, right? It's supposed to be, before we said mikzas, here it says koshu. It's as if all the 10 tfachim are within the 4x4 tfachim within 10 tfachim of the ground. So as the carbonator points out, 96 tfachim is 4 amos. So this is a large window. It's 4 amos by 4 amos, right? Perimeter of 96 tfachim means there's 24 tfachim on each side. 6 tfachim to 24 times 4. 6 tfachim per amos, each is 4 by 4 amos. So that's why the Yerushalmi Eruvin wants to be metayik that before, where it's 4 by 4 tfachim, you need a mikzas. Mikzas is more than a koshu. When the window is 4 by 4 amos, then all you need is a koshu. You don't need even less than a mikzas. Okay, that's the question is though. What is this window of 4 by 4 amos? What's the point? The way the article wants to learn it is that you're right. There's no chiddush in this halacha. 4 by 4 tefachim only needs mikzas, so certainly 4 by 4 amos. But and he does differentiate between mikzas and koshu. But in this Gemara, he says it's only an introduction to the next Gemara. As he says, that's from the Pnei Meir. Okay, so Haisagula, that's the next Gemara. It was round via Bahekif Tishim and had a circumference of 90. V'chule. That's the question. Whereas the question is not resolved. So according to the B'chule, Chaim actually I think I could change it to V'shisha Tvachim instead of Vav Chav Vav Vivav or something like that. But the question is, why they asked the question by the 4 Amma window. So, but not by the 4 Tvachim window. But the question is, if it was a round window, and it was a large enough window that it could contain a square 4 by 4 amos. So it's there's a question over Shas how big the window has to be, which can contain a square within it, and so it's the right size, whatever size it has to be. And the question is, if part of that circle goes within the 4 amos, within 10 tefachim of the ground, not the actual square, because the square is inscribed in the circle. So part of that circle, which would be below the square, goes in 10 tefachim of the ground. Is that enough? Or does that have to be part of the actual square, which would be inscribed in the circle, which goes below the 10 tefachim? Maybe I should try and find a picture. Hold on. Yeah, it's the question also in the Bavli, except in the Bavli, it's talking about the window of 24. The perimeter is 16 tefachim, right? And it says there that it does say there that based on the math which they used, the pi of 3, so the circumference of the window now has to be 24 tefachim, 24 tefachim and something, 24 point. The numbers here somewhere, around 24. But in any event, so the question is, those extra 2 tefachim down here, which are below where the square would be, if those are within 10 tefachim of the ground, does that count, or does it have to be that the actual part of the square is within 10 tefachim of the ground? So the Yerushalmi does not resolve the question. But again, the question is why they chose to switch to the Dalet Amos window. It's supposed to speak about the Dalet Tvachim window. So it's interesting to note that in the Leiden manuscript, this whole line didn't appear. And somebody put it into the margin of the Leiden manuscript. So maybe it was like it wasn't originally part of the Yerushalmi. It's a question of the Bavli, but it's not part of the Yerushalmi. But the Magia in Leiden, wherever that was, say, oh, you know what? There's a question in the Bavli. A similar question in the Yerushalmi would be a phrase like this. And he's the one who said, well, coming off the previous Gemara, just coming off that language of 96, I use that language of 96 to note the That question of the which the Bavli has. I don't know if it's going to show up on screen, but I want to show you. This is the light, and I usually have behind me in my shelf. This is the Machon in Eretz Yisrael. Not sure why they put it out, but several years ago, Machon Hakademia Lashon Ivrit, the academy which is in charge of the Hebrew language, put out the light in manuscript for some reason, and which is great. And they have it here. Gilyon is in small print. So here it is. See, I can't see what I'm pointing now. Right there. Oisa Gula. See that? Oisa Gula. So it was actually a small fine print in the Gillian, this way down those brackets, and that was put into the light and later. Okay, fascinating. I should actually write that down inside my work because I did not have that written down. Okay, the Krumah actually learns that the next time Malamai became is going back on Hoysagula, but that's not the Pashib Shot. Pashib Shot is that Moshe, that you had a window of 4x4 tvachim between the two, and you wanted to diminish it. So it's not by 4x4 tvachim, so you wanted to put in kalim, from the putting kalim to make it smaller 4x4 tvachim. But that's also problematic because you don't have to do that in order to make, because you can make 2 eruvin. You don't need to be ma'ita chaloin. Why should we ma'ita chaloin? So just leave it there, right? Chalon gives you the option to make 1 eruv, but you don't have to make 1 eruv, so there's no reason to diminish the window. So therefore, the Reb Chaim and the Yerushalmi Eruvin, the question is, you want to diminish the height of the window from the ground by putting kalim next to the window on the ground. Okay, so you're putting the kalim on the ground next to the window in order that the height of the window should be within 10 tefachim of the top of the kalim, because it's not 10 tefachim, it's more than 10 tefachim from the ground. It's not the same thing, but it's similar to this, right? You have here there's a charitz, not a window, but the same principle. You want to get it within 10 of the ground by putting something on the ground next to it in order to diminish the height so it's more than 10 from the ground, but it's way less than 10 tefachim from one of these things which you're using, in this case, using kalim. Yeah, you can use kalim to diminish the height of the wall. You can't use kalim. So obviously, you can take them away on Shabbos, right? So that's what seems to be the problem. Okay, we'll discuss it. Talmud Amrei, over there they said, in Chutz La'aretz, in Bavel, Machlekes B'chia Rabba Shmuel Rabbi Yosi. It's Machlekes B'chia, the great, and Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yosi. Sometimes, of course, B'chia Rabba was, the last time, it does not appear in the Mishnah. Rabbi Yosi does appear in the Mishnah, but they can argue on each other. They're both Tanoim. Chadamar Osir v'Chadamar Mutter. One says Osir, one says Mutter. Manamar Osir Shemish Gavki is Lanu. Because you might take it away, right? It's a keli. It's allowed. You're allowed to take it away. So therefore, you have to. You can't use it. Rabbi Yochanan Bar Maria, Rabbi Yochanan Paskin, lemichbash olav kuf. So to put on it a kuf. So they should several interpretations depending what a kuf is, which evidently nobody knows exactly. Chaim wants to say that kuf is a beam. Either they're supposed to put a beam there instead of the kalim, and the beam is not movable on Shabbos, or that they put a beam on top of the kalim, and therefore you can't move the kalim on Shabbos because there's a beam on top of them. The Pnei Moshe says it's like a basket of stones which you can't move on Shabbos. Kormeda says fakert. Says the opposite. He said it's a keli which you can move on Shabbos. It's a plate, and he also I don't think that's the simple thing. Most of the Shabbos, most unfortunately, something which you can't move on Shabbos for some reason is more likely shot. Tani, we learned b'chol mematin. You can use anything to diminish the height of the wall. Ba'avonim, stones, levanim, bricks, usulam hamitzri, and the Egyptian ladder. The Egyptian ladder is a heavy ladder. V'husha kava, as long as you embedded it there, and as Korban points out, it seems to mean that you nailed it in. Rabbi Bar Shem Rabbi said, it says lo afilu kavo. The Korban changes it to afilu lo kavo. It's the same as the meaning, the same regardless. Even if he didn't nail it to the wall. For tiny bush kavo, why? But what do you do the brisa? So it says that you have to embed in the wall. Rabbi Bar says vushi yichtul kach. It has to be designated to be against that wall, not embedded in the wall. Rabbi Luck, Rabbi Luck paskin like that, which says in the Brisa, who should cover. You have to you have to embed it in the wall. You have to nail it to the wall. The one now gives very precise parameters for the Sulam Mitzvah, what it's got to be like in order for it to work. Rabbi Yonah, Rabbi Yosef, Tarvein, they're both named Chabashem Mar Ukvan. Once they named Mar Ukvan, Chabashem Mar Nachman, the other named Rav Nachman by Yaakov. Tzarech Sheh Ben Shlevel L'Shlevel Pachim Mishlosha. Between each rung on the ladder has to be less than 3 Tvachim. Which is of course less than Loved. Tzarech Baruch of Arba Tvachim also has to have, in order to be significant enough to diminish the height of the wall, has to be 4 Tvachim wide, but not the rungs necessarily. Vamudim, the posts which hold the rungs in place, Mashlimim Arba, they can make up the measure 4 Tvachim. Yasamar Kufes, which is for we said we mentioned word kuf before, which the Reb Chaim translated as a beam. So this also is a beam, a block of wood. Kufes shehadregos, and the Shunas Chos actually has here shehidrigo. Looking down here to see, make sure I got that right. Yeah, shehidrigo. Yeah, in the Shunas Chos. But interesting. Now I'm looking at Shunas Chos. This whole discussion of that Rabbi Yochanan Bar Maria before, who it was. Okay, whether it's Kadmadia that I saw, that was a typo. Then there's Bidamria. Bidamria was said in a certain place. Anyway, yeah, as it may. Sorry, I distracted. So the Kuvashi Jigoy might. If you have a block of wood and you put niches in it in order to make it into a ladder, that also works. I wonder if there's a picture here somewhere. I don't think so, but. This is not the same thing exactly, but it's similar to this. Where because I said it was a block of wood. This is the wall itself, right? So you made steps in a block of wood. So where it says that kuvashi drigu we might mikom ein amudim mashlim lasora nase shleva ava. So these words are very difficult to understand. Reb Chaim explains that the pillars, the beam, the posts are not don't make up the height if they're not enough rungs. They only do that to the width, but not for the height. So if you had the posts of the ladder going beyond the actual rungs, and the posts go up to 10, but not the rungs themselves. I shouldn't say go up to 10, but go up to the level needed in order to diminish the wall from the 10 fachim to get to the window. So that doesn't work. The post can become like a broad step, but they can't extend the height of the ladder further beyond the last step. So that's it saying, okay, period. New statement. Nevertheless, the posts on the side don't make up the height necessary in order to get within 10 fachim of the window. Why? Because nasis kshleva ava. The post can make on the side the rung as if it's thicker. So made 4 tvachim with criteria, but they can't go extend above the top rung. That's the ladder considered extending upwards, and then even though the top rung is not within 10 tvachim of the window, the top of the post is within 10 tvachim of the window. That doesn't work. Okay, next case is a picture of it here. Next statement. Okay, see at the top of this, not this one. This one over here. See at the top, there's a platform. Okay, so that's the next tomorrow, right? The top of the ladder. I've run the side more every step. Uh, the because it sounds like the next, not the going to, from next Gemara, it's going to be clear that he meant every step, and the next opinion holds that only the top step. But every step has to be 4 tvachim wide. The shir of a kedei makom, 4 by 4 tvachim. So, Tosha Moshe Kodesh Kodesh Arbaton Kedei Makom Reb Chizkiah B'Shem Reb Boom Barkana. So Osa Shlei B'Shem Mayit. It says Torah, the final one, just the top one. Tzirah Shetim Meshum Mekodesh Arba Tvachim Kedei Makom. So I have written the same more, not the ones above it, which is but I'm not sure that that's true. I think it means not the ones below it. Okay, so the way I have them written the same Gemara, it means that once you got to the level where it's less than 10 tvachim from the window, then you can stop making 4 by 4 tvachim. The rungs 4 by 4 tvachim. But I don't think that that's a shot now. I think that the first amount number holds every step, every rung has to be 4 by 4 tvachim, and the last opinion is like this over here, that only the last step has to be 4 by 4 tvachim, not the ones leading up to it. It's interesting I thought that the Yerushalmi Eruvin says that there's no machlekes here. He says that Rabbi Chizkiah B'Shem Rabbi Bun Kahana is interpreting Rabbi Hashem B'Shem Rabbi Bun Barkana, saying that I don't think it's much that way in the Gemara, but that it's only the last step, not what he says. It's only that last step. Okay, and here it seems to be a statement, not a question. Have you done it to Shiva Tvachim? If you have a wall and Korban changed it to a sulam, a ladder, less than 7, and you need to diminish the height of the wall by 10 tvachim. I guess the window is like 19 tvachim up. So you bring it. And he can be more exposed to the shosh and starts a ladder within 3 tvachim on the ground. So it's level with the ground. And then, of course, the ladder stretched up to your required 10 tvachim, and everything is fine. Okay, so now going back on our Mishnah. Our Mishnah said that if the window is less than 4 by 4, it's no good. So when I ask, normally you say, love closes up if it's less than 3 by 3 tvachim. You're saying if the window is less than 4 by 4 tvachim, it's like close up. You can't make one erev. You have to take 2 erevin. So the truth is, it's the Gemara doesn't bother to answer because the answer is pashut, because you need the shir makom. I believe the Bobby also mentions it, that you need a shir makom between of significance in order to unite two things. And it's not enough to have just limited 3 by 3. You have to have 4 by 4. I say that's what the Pnei Moshe says. And then what it says, Ina boy mag makshiv kakshiv. If you want to ask a power question, the article here has a very different shot in the Gemara about to learn from the Pnei Meir. But the Pnei Moshe and Reb Chaim all have similar shatim here. So I'm going like them. And again, like Korban changes to a ladder. You brought a ladder 4 tvachim, the koshu. Right? You need 10 tvachim. Ladder's only 4 tvachim. So wait, you bring a ladder 4 tvachim, koshu v'yibim in oretz. You lift it up the ground here. It says shnei tvachim because koshu. It should be 3 tvachim. Everybody changed the kirsa. So it's love it of the ground, right? And I don't know if everybody changed that, but at least Reb Chaim does. Yeah, the carbonate does as well. So the thing is like this. You have but you need another 3 tvachim on top. So it's in 3 tvachim of the ground. Then you put 4 tvachim of solid ladder, and then you need to get another 3 tvachim above it. So you put another rope on top within 3 tvachim of that within 3 tvachim of the top of that 4 tefach ladder in the middle. So what's the case in that? What's in that case? So when it says Yeva Kaida Marabi Yochanan Omed v'Cholam Mitzdarfin L'Rabov, we should Omed Rabba L'Chalo. You have a Chiyas Habor. You have a There might even be a picture here. Yeah, over here. You get 4 tvachim across the top. So the two sides are mitzaref with the cavity in the middle to make up the 4 tvachim 4 by 4 on top, or to make it shusay yachid. So, but the Rabbi Yochanan says ushiyah oimed rabba l'cholo. You have to have oimed ruba on both sides in order for it to be in order for it to work. In other words, the chevel is a mashu, so it's not. If you put the 4 talking ladders over here, and then you have a rope on the other side and a cavity in the middle. There we say asav here of above the rope, and if you're below the rope, on mavata of the chevel. So that's not going to work. You have to have oimem ruba of the on the 3 tvachim between the end of the 4th tefach ladder and your rope from both sides in order for it to work. And oimem mitzad echad doesn't work. So therefore, in this case, your ladder was not effective. It's not going to diminish the halal because of that. Again, it's only being 4 tvachim, and the fact is, litzlov on the bottom is not the problem. The problem is on the top. That string doesn't do any good. Okay, that will bring us to the end of the Amud for today, and then we'll stop. Therefore, we'll stop.